What's going on, everybody? Jeff Porter from the Indie Gamer Magazine. Today we are giving out awards. Today's the award show. We're to the day of all days. Today we're going to go through 10 different categories. We're going to give out physical awards to the creators and the developers chosen by you. We had thousands of votes on the website, which is mind-boggling. Really great stuff. We're going to, of course, check out a bunch of new trailers. And somehow I convinced more people to come talk. I don't know how I did it. It's really amazing. You're going to hear from the creators of Atom. You're going to hear from cosplay creators. You're going to hear from voice actors. You're going to hear from music composers. You're going to hear from publishers. You're going to hear from them all right here. All right, so before we get into the very first award of the night, check out these awesome game trailers.
The Giraffe World. Play as Mimolette the giraffe in this cute puzzle game as you go through multiple words, each with its unique mood. With 50 handcrafted levels and relaxing music, this is one you can turn on before bed and play for some calming relaxation. Zappling Bygone. Take over as an alien hive mind who absorbs his victim's consciousness. Search, climb, and slap your way through an alien planet in search of a cure for a virus that plagues and corrupts your hive.
What's going on, guys? So, getting into the first award of the night for most improved game. Creating a game is hard enough on its own. To continue updating it and improving it and making it better than it was at launch takes even more work. So, here are our candidates for most improved game of 2021. 7 Days to Die, GTFO, Dead Cells, Everyone is Here, Tribes of Midgard. And the winner for most improved game, voted on by you guys, is pretty awesome. GTFO. Congratulations to GTFO. I remember when we had our first interview with you guys back in March of 2020, maybe before that, maybe February. It was pretty early on, and it was an honor. It was great talking to you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy the physical award.
Power to the people. Maintaining a power grid is not an easy task, especially with a constantly growing population. You'll need to avoid overloads and fight back against Mother Nature as you supply power to your towns. Power to the People offers a wide array of power plant types and energy solutions. Now, it's just up to you. The Bunny Graveyard. While this may only be a short experience, you'll want to explore this creepy town as you encounter terrifying creatures, all to the background music of a haunting soundtrack. Keep your eye out for this short puzzle RPG about a bunny looking for her lost brother.
let's get into our first guest speaker of the night, Brooke Stens. You probably remember her from last year, and if you weren't with us, you're in for quite a treat. Incredible cosplay, and what's more interesting is the process behind it. Brooke creates every outfit and costume by hand, down to the finest detail. She was on our cover back in August of 2020. Spoke to us a little bit about her cosplay, joined us for the award show, and now she is back here again. So I will quit blabbering and I'll let her talk.
Hey everyone, this is Brooke Stens with BBLcade Cosplay. I am a professional cosplayer. I go around to conventions, I judge costumes very thoroughly, and I also talk to a lot of people about how to make cosplay and how to make your cosplays better. You may have seen my work on Nerdist, Yahoo, Google News, all over the place. It's pretty wonderful being seen like that. So I'm here to talk to you guys about cosplay and about what I do. So I am a foam smither, which means I take things like craft foam and I make these awesome cosplays and I make them look like real beautiful armor. So this one right here that I have, this is a Red Sonja cosplay that I am currently working on. The due date for this is in February. We are doing a snowy shoot up where I live, which is northern Michigan, and it's gonna be cold. It's gonna be very cold. We're trying to make use of furs and fabrics, the best way we can. So this one is a work in progress. This is what it looks like while it's getting made. Gray, there's black foam, there's white foam, there's multicolored foam. But I choose to use gray because I feel like it's the easiest to cover up. And this one right here, this is a mostly completed cosplay. I would say it's about 98% done. There's still more lights that I want to add to it and a few more details, but this is Sally Whitemane from World of Warcraft. It's an original design by Zach Fisher, and if you haven't seen his artwork, go check it out because it is beautiful. So this one has lights installed on it in the eyes, chest piece, in the legs, got eyes that light up. But one thing I want to talk about while we're here is there is no wrong way to cosplay. You do not have to make armor, make these, big pieces, big pauldrons, big swords. You don't have to do any of that. You can literally walk in your closet and pick out clothes and, be whatever you want. You can even be a made-up character that you came up with the day before. I've done original creations. I've done my D&D character, which was a female barbarian, and no one knew who I was. They just knew that I was a barbarian, but that's okay because I had a lot of fun doing it. It was a challenge because the whole thing was braided, lots of furs, but there's no wrong way to cosplay. You can even go order some bodysuits offline and go be Spider-Man if you want. Spider-Man's super cool right now. One real quick thing is there is more things out there than just foam that you can use to cosplay with. There is clay, there's foam clay, there's thermoplastics. A lot of people 3D print their cosplays. And like I said, a lot of people just gather stuff right out of their closet. And Worbla, since I don't have anything that is Worbla up here, is used to stiffen a lot of pieces, make them harder. I used Worbla on my katana fans, to really give them that snap. Really makes them sturdy, hold together. Another example of a different material you can use is foam clay. This is for my noob sickle. We did a huge Mortal Kombat shoot, so I have tons of Mortal Kombat cosplays. But the whole thing was with foam clay, and it was all done by hand. All of it was molded. This is honestly one of my favorite pieces. But there's so many different ways to cosplay. Like I said, also 3D printed pieces. That's pretty popular right now too. It's kind of a challenge to learn how to do 3D printing, but once you get the hang of it, it's very well worth it because it really makes your pieces stand out and look real. Some of my favorite tools that I use, the Dremel, it gets all them edges clean. The heat gun is what you use to form your pieces to kind of mold them. Foam is also one of them. Pens, pencils, to trace out all your stencils for what you're making. Lights, I really like lights. They're not a requirement, obviously, but most of the time I take the cheap route, and I buy just these little fairy lights right off of Amazon. They look good, they're easy to use, they're quick on and off, but lights are a good accent piece, and I love using them. So one of my favorite cosplays I have made to date so far is probably my Kitana. It was her, I think it was called the Royal Purple DLC design from the most recent Mortal Kombat. And this one was definitely a challenge. I used a lot of different techniques to get the cosplay where I wanted it. The bodysuit and the armor was probably the biggest challenge. I don't like sewing. I am definitely more of a foam maker. But this was the first time I ever 3D printed something, and I think that this mask is forever gonna hold a special place in my heart because of that. Also, like I said earlier, the fans, they are Warbla thermoplastic and also fabric. So there were so many different types of techniques that really went into making that cosplay, and we had done I think 18-man shoot in one day, and we did a bunch of characters and just hosted our own little tournament and fought each other, and it was a great time. And just real quick, I want to say that you can be any shape, size, age, gender. You know, you can be you and cosplay whatever you want. It does not matter. Don't let people talk you down at all. Cosplay is not about being rude to each other. It's about having fun and, you know, being who you want to be and being maybe that hero for the afternoon. For me, it is definitely a way to relax. It's a good stress reliever. And, you know, everyone's got their reasons for doing it. So, but I am BBLcade Cosplay. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at BBLcade Cosplay. And I hope you guys have a great new year, and maybe we'll see you next year. Come check out my socials. Bye.
All right, thank you, Brooke, for joining us again. I hope you guys really enjoyed that. That leads us into our second award of the night. If you can guess, best cosplay. Red Chaos, Nate Nook, BB Alcade, SV Jancope. And the winner for best cosplay of 2021 goes to, you guys voted for this. You know her, you love her, BB Alcade Cosplay.
Endfall, a story-rich, platforming adventure with beautiful pixel graphics that is currently in development. Endfall is being created by just one person, with a demo available right now on itch.io. Uncover the hidden truth that lies at the end of this chasm. Before we leave, build up your cities in Balancing Monkey Games simulation strategy title Before We Leave. Build settlements, discover new technologies, manage your resources, and trade between other settlements as you attempt to create the best civilization under the sun, all without using any weapons.
Hey guys, welcome back. I've got a question for you. What would video games be if they had no music in them? If you answer terrible, you're right. Here today to talk to you about music composition and video game music design is Charles Wolfe. Take it away.
Hello and welcome. My name is Charles Wolfe, and I am a freelance video game composer. I write music for games all the time, and I really love this job that I get the privilege of doing. I'm very excited to be doing something that I'm passionate about and excited about, and to share a little bit about what it's like to be a video game composer with you all, at least from my perspective. I'm delighted to be here at the Indie Gamer Game Awards and to be part of this amazing community of people who are making incredible games all the time. Okay, I want to give you a little bit of a background about myself and my music. I started being interested in music at a very early age. When I was 3 and 4 years old, I'd be running around the house with my fake toy guitar, strumming away, singing songs. When I was about 7, my mom tried to teach me how to play piano. Wasn't very interested in it. I was more distracted. I wanted to go outside and play with my lightsabers. Wasn't interested in really music stuff all that much. But when I was 10, my best friend at the time, he had played piano and used to show what he could do on the piano. I'm like, that's so cool. I want to be able to do that. And so I started lessons with a different teacher, not my mom, and made great progress. And within 3 years had progressed through a number of teachers. And when I got to college at 16, I decided I want to study music. Specifically, I wanted to study how to write music. So I went on to get my bachelor's degree in music composition from California State University, Stanislaus. And then I went on to get my master's degree in music theory and in music composition from Texas State University. And then I have, in the meantime, been working on my skills as a composer over the last 7 or 8 years since college. So at the beginning of the pandemic, I had been teaching private lessons, and I decided I wanted to do more with the composing side of myself. I had performed a lot as a professional pianist and decided that I wasn't really seeing that go anywhere. I wanted to do something that let me express myself more and be more creative and collaborative, where it wasn't just me doing an entire project, but it was with a group of people and creating something really unique and special. And so at the beginning of 2020, I realized I did a lot of soul searching, like most people did, for obvious reasons. Everyone was sort of in lockdown. And then in 2021, I began to start to actively seek work as a video game composer. I have, over the past year, been able to score about 16 games, which is pretty exciting, and I have built up a little bit of a following on Twitter. You can check me out at Wolf Music. So what is the process? What is my process of writing music? Okay, so first step is when I get a game developer coming to me for their game, I take a look at the game. I usually look at either screenshots or I'll look at actual gameplay footage, maybe even play a little bit of the game, but not always. And I will get kind of a feel for the genre and the style. What's the energy level like? That's a big question I ask myself. What's the energy of the scenes? Is this part of the level like a low energy zone? Is this a high energy zone? Is this like a tension building zone? Is this a battle, a combat zone? Like where in the game are we, and what does the music need to feel like relative to that? So I had a game that I worked on called The Island of Spirits. It's by an amazing developer named Amadox. You can check him out at Amadox on Twitter. And he has worked on a number of games since then, but this was a game that I worked on with him. This game is about a knight. He goes on a quest, and he is going through this jungle. And in this jungle, there are lots of monsters to fight, and it's a roguelike, and it's very difficult. I've died many times trying to play this game. As you're working through it, there's bosses and treasure and fun loot to find and silly characters. It's a really fun game. So it has a kind of a fantasy adventure vibe immediately. I also wanted it to have sort of a retro synthy background to it, kind of a SNES sort of like Legend of Zelda as sort of my basis of inspiration for this game, and trying to create a whole new soundscape specifically for this project. So what did I do? Okay, so that's the main theme. I immediately knew I wanted it to be very upbeat, energetic, and have this very great sense of forward energy, forward motion. Maybe a little bit slower. That's where I started. So how did I build this? So the first thing is we're in the key of D major. D is our primary note, and I'm using the F sharp, which is part of the scale. We have this opening arpeggio, this broken chord on D. Okay, and so that's kind of the opening idea, and I made sure to give it more energy by not starting on the beat. This is on the beat, which is a different feel. You can feel the difference of that. It starts after the pulse. So here's the pulse. 1 and 2 and 3. So it has a very up feeling because I'm not starting on the melody on the beat. I'm starting slightly off the beat, and has that syncopation. That's what that's called. And so on the way up, that's the first kind of main motive, the main idea, musical idea behind it, is that rising arpeggio. Then it comes down, and it steps down the scale. Whenever you do a jump up, like a fourth, for example, or bigger, so a fourth or a fifth or a sixth, those kind of intervals, bigger intervals, big leaps in the melody, it's a good idea to step backwards. So for example, if I was to do something like this, right, that sort of idea, I'm jumping up, I'm stepping back. So here I kind of have that happening in the arpeggio. That's a fourth. So I have it step back to kind of follow a good melody line sort of guideline. Now this part here, that is from the D minor scale. So I'm kind of mixing my two modes here. I'm mixing my major scale, D major, with my D minor scale. Okay, so you can kind of hear that. I'm also using, if you want to get a little more technical, I'm also using what's called a minor 4 chord. If you don't know what that is, that's okay. But it's just this G minor chord that I'm using. So instead of using like a major chord like you normally would in the D major scale like this, it's kind of a, right, that sound. I'm not doing that, I'm using, if it was a major, it'd be like this. Which also works, but doesn't have that fantasy element that I need. It's the mixture of the major bottom half of the scale with the minor upper half that gives it the energy. I really wanted to have sort of a slightly techno kind of thing. So in the bass, instead of holding the chords, I actually decided to have them do these kind of bouncing octaves with the eighth notes. An octave is 8 notes apart, by the way. After I had that, I added in the synthesizers, all the instrumentation, and put it together, and this is what it sounds like in its entirety. First and foremost, I want to say thank you so much to the Indie Gamer magazine for having me be part of this awesome award show. I am delighted to talk about my music anytime I can, and this was really, really fun to get to do and show you a little bit about my process behind how I came up with this main melody, at least the first part of it. If you want to see more of my work, you can certainly do that at charleswolfmusic.com. Again, that's charleswolfmusic.com. Follow me on Twitter at cwolfmusic, and you can also check out my work on SoundCloud, Charles Wolf Music as well. Thank you so much for listening to my talk today about my process of writing music for video games. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at any of the ways I just mentioned. I would love to talk to you more about the process and talk to you more about my music. Thank you so much again, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
All right, thank you so much, Charles, for joining us. I can't do any of that, so thank you for being able to be there and showing us your talent. That's really cool. And if anybody out there is interested in that, definitely reach out to Charles. He looks like he would be a fantastic teacher. So Charles leads us perfectly into the next award of the night, Best Soundtrack of 2021. Kena, Bridge of Spirits. Sable, Little Nightmares 2. Ender Lilies. And the winner for the best soundtrack, voted on by you, Little Nightmares 2.
Superheroes Academy. Coming in 2022, you will assume the role of leading Superheroes Academy. Build your base, develop infrastructure, hire superheroes, and train them to help you save the world. Look for missions around the U.S. helping ordinary citizens or taking on deadly supervillains. Do you have what it takes?
Hey guys, we're going to keep the awesome guest speakers rolling. Coming in now to speak about voice acting is Mike Bodie. Mike has done a large array of indie titles and has done over 70 total, so he seems to know what he's talking about. So I'll let him take it over from here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mike Bodie. I'm an actor, voice actor, performance capture artist, and voice director, and I will be answering some questions and doing some talking for the Indie Gamer. Just a quick thank you to Jeff Reese-Marcus. I have some great questions that I'm going to answer for everyone. Some of the things that I've worked on are Wolfenstein 2, The Division 2, Star Wars Battlefront 2, a lot of sequels, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, Control, what else? Did I do that thing? I'm not sure. Synced Off Planet and Star Citizen. Within the indie realm, I have worked on Ancestors Legacy, Green Health, War Mongrels, Chernobylite, Giants Uprising, Time Loader. Yeah, I've worked on almost 70 titles. And what do you enjoy the most about your voice work? I enjoy how long it doesn't take. Most jobs that I do will be an hour or two of work. So I'm either in my studio here or I am at a studio in town or somebody else's studio. The client's hired a studio somewhere, and I'll go in and I'll work there. I'm paid quite well for the amount of time that I do it for. Those are all very logistical and financial reasons. I enjoy doing voice work as that you get to bring to life characters who don't exist in reality, either extreme versions of one thing or the other. I think there's a lot of magic to be found in the fantasy and in the imagination of storytelling. There's a lot of mileage and a lot of strength in character archetypes that are non-human, and even ones that are human. If you, let's say you're doing a fantasy game and your character is human, but they're a paladin and they are some sort of archetype of a wizened teacher or something. Maybe paladins is a bad example. They're not exactly wise, unless you're playing like a cleric or something. I have a lot more control over it as well, because I've worked on stage and I've worked in screen and television. A lot of those jobs you're very much at the mercy of somebody else. A lot of the big AAA projects, for example, and to a degree some indie ones as well, not as much though. They will be going through studios whose sole function is to do game voiceover recording. Those outsourcing companies will go through voiceover agents predominantly, mostly out of a quality assurance aspect. It's very rare that they would go to somebody who's not signed with somebody. Having agent representation is indicative of quality, because in order to be on that agent's roster, you need to have met a certain set of criteria and be of a certain quality, because that agent is not going to put somebody on their books who is not up to standard. If an agent says, this is my client, they're with me, that says to the recording company that the person who's on their books is of a certain baseline level and that they are probably worthy of consideration for the project, so on and so forth. But within the indie game industry, I have a lot more control over things. If I want to contact a developer and say, hey, I think your project's really cool, I'd love to work on it, here's my stuff, I'd be happy to send you an audition or something, then I can do that. I can't go to CD Projekt Red in Warsaw and say, hey guys, I love your game, I think it's great, I really enjoyed it, here's my voice reels, I'd love to be considered for a part on new content. That's not going to work. For me, I don't often get to work on stage or in screen. For me, working in games as a voice actor and also as a voice director as well is the closest creative outlet for me that is not stage or a screen. The level of performance that I have to bring to a session, to a character, to whatever the job is, for me is on par with what I would bring to a piece of screen or a piece of stage work. How others can start getting into the industry as a voice actor. I will answer this question as though the individual has never stepped in front of a microphone or done any performing whatsoever. Quick background on myself. I trained at LAMDA, which is the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art in the UK. It is arguably the best actor training program in the world, and I say arguably because there are other good schools, but I'm obviously biased. The advantage I have as a voice actor versus other voice actors who are coming in it from a non-acting background or working in another field and coming into voice acting is that I'm a classically trained stage and screen actor. And that's an advantage that has served me immensely to be able to draw upon a much greater variety of skills and such over the years. But if you don't have any of that, I would start, if you can find a local improvisation group, just to physically get you up on a stage in front of people performing, because it's all well and good performing behind a microphone, but your performance is going to be a lot better if you can overcome your stage fright and stage fear. If you can be comfortable in front of an audience with no script, making it up as you go along, then you can be exceptionally comfortable and relaxed behind a microphone with a script when there are a lot fewer people watching. It'll also sort of fast track you along to a very baseline level of performance. As far as the actual voice over aspect, understanding your voice, knowing how it works in front of a microphone, having a very nuanced and subtle understanding of your physical instrument and how you can use that to better portray characters and how you can maintain it and utilize it to give the best performance and to understand a piece of text in order to perform it is immensely important. Career goals. I would love to be cast as a performance capture lead that uses my voice and likeness in a game. That would be amazing. I would love to work for like a year or two or more on as a lead in a performance capture for using performance capture for a game. I'd love to do more animation. I've had a handful of animation jobs, but I would love to work as series regulars on animation, particularly in the U.S. Thank you so much to the Indie Gamer. Thanks to everybody in the team for having me, and I hope you guys enjoyed the talk. Feel free to get in touch if you, viewer at home, have any questions. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
All right, guys, you heard the man. Somebody get him a motion capture lead with his likeness. Let's make it happen. Thank you, Mike, for being a part of the show. It was an honor to have you and really interesting to hear about how you're able to achieve what you do. So hopefully somebody out there sees this and they'll take on their career as a voice actor. That leads us into our next award of the night for Best Voice Performance. Lorenzo Polin, David Flepp, Mike Bodie, Dea Ayu. And the winner for Best Voice Performance 2021 goes to Dua Ayu for Kenna Bridge of Spirits.
Are you on, little fella?
We are building you to be the pillar of a digital era. As such, you have to understand us. People.
Capital, reputation, order, power. Just make sure to keep it in check.
If you gather data on civilian behavior, we can tailor our advertisements to yield more purchases.
Would you give up some time to be a companion for elderly patients?
Your work so far has impressed the Ministry. They think you could help with law enforcement. I need your help. One of my suspects is playing hard to get.
You'd be putting an artificial intelligence in charge of how we live our lives?
You're like a robot, so you don't know what it feels like to be starving all the time.
I'm inbound. I need you to map out the fastest route for me.
Delete all records of this executive order. This never happened.
Rumors of a machine cult are spreading, claiming you to be some kind of messiah.
What the hell are you doing?
The city will be in complete anarchy at this rate.
I'm pulling the plug.
No!
When push comes to shove, when your hand is being forced, what kind of choices are you going to make?
And are you ready?
Yes.
NeuroNet, Dream Harvest's upcoming 2022 title, has a new AI created to manage the city of Katina. You will shape the future and the people, but where will your choices lead everyone? Shape the story of the city where every choice matters, and you may lead them into ruin or glory. Check out their free demo on Steam right now.
All right, next up we've got Best Solo Developer. I'm not even a developer at all, so I called in the experts. I called in somebody who won the award last year. Here is Thomas Sala from the Falconeer.
Hi everybody, I'm Thomas Sala. I'm going to hand out the award for Best Solo Developer. Here it is. And that category particularly dear to me. And that is about, people developing their own game and going out into the world and, making it count amongst teams regularly developed by 10, 15, 20, 200 people. And hopefully raising the bar while doing that. And I think this year's winner really raised the bar where, I think a lot of people when it came out and when it became such a big success, we go, is this, one person made this? It's really mind-blowing. Even, to me, it's like, this is raising the bar for solo development to make something that is this, visually striking and, it's got that AAA feel. It's amazing in its scope. So a worthwhile winner who came out of nowhere, really surprised everybody and definitely earned his rank amongst, the best solo developer of 2021 is FYQD Studios with Bright Memory Infinite. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, check out the game on Steam because it's a mind blowing. So congratulations and wow.
Timothy, and the Tower of Mu. You're going to die a lot in this one. A classic, hardcore platformer, you'll need to learn from your mistakes and try it again and again until you succeed. With around 8 hours of gameplay, you'll fall in love with the art and level design of this title. Try out their free demo available now on Steam.
So when people hear the indie gamer, a lot of people automatically assume video games, when really we've covered everything from cosplay to games to board games to TCGs. So one of the coolest that I think we've interviewed was Zach from Chaos Galaxy, who has an incredible YouTube channel, and he created a TCG when he was just like 10 years old. So I wanted to hear more about how he did it, and I think a lot of people probably find it interesting. So for our next guest speaker, here is Zach from Chaos Galaxy.
Hey, my name's Zach, and I'm the creator of the indie trading card game, The Chaos Galaxy. Here to give you a quick intro to the game and tell you how I got started making it. But firstly, I want to give a big shout out to the guys at the Indie Gamer magazine. Thank you for asking me to be a part of your 2022 awards. It's a great honour, especially seeing as I'm a trading card game and not your conventional video game. Card games matter too, guys. So about the Chaos Galaxy, I started the game when I was 10, I'm now 25. And like most 90s kids, my ideas came directly from a childhood obsession with Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon cards. Like my fascination with all the wild and wacky creatures, combined with my parents' reluctance to actually buy me any packs of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, caused me to make my own trading card games in my bedroom. This hobby's developed over time, over 15 years, into what is now the Chaos Galaxy trading card game. I draw all the artwork by hand, made all the rules, all the packs and packaging for the game. We've got 4 booster sets now with over 500 cards, and I've made a whole lore backstory to the game, as well as an online platform to play the game where there's regular tournaments and a pretty active Discord server. But my passion's always been the drawing, and growing up, I was too impatient to spend time doing big paintings or long sketches, so just doing a sort of 30-20 minute doodle of a creature that fits into a 2x3 inch trading card was the perfect outlet for my creativity as a child. At first, I started playing the game with my younger brother and a few of my cousins. Then, after plucking up the courage, I told a couple of friends, and now I mainly market the game through YouTube. And the game has now reached a community size, the level of which I would never have expected before. The game's approaching 30,000 subscribers, which isn't a lot for kind of the gaming channels, but trading card channels, which are a lot more niche, it's doing pretty well. There's a whole trading card game YouTube community, and everyone kind of knows each other, are really supportive of each other. I found a few videos on that, and in 2014 I set up my own channel and started showing videos about the Chaos Galaxy. Since posting my first video as a nervous, spotty teenager, trust me, the video was so bad. I haven't looked back. I do weekly pack openings, battle videos, showing off new cards with speed arts. There's even a lore series for the game, and I do tutorials on how to make your own trading cards at home. But it all started from just that first upload, and I had no idea where the channel was going to go. But the YouTube channel is what's really helped the game develop, and I think this can apply for video games too. Every video I upload, I have amazing fans giving feedback to motivate me and help me improve in the comments of every video. Say I'm showing off some new cards and one of them's too weak, or someone spots a really game-breaking combo with an older card that I haven't spotted yet. They can just put that in the comments section, I'll read it, take it on board, change the game slightly for when I release those new cards, they're going to be perfectly fitting into the game. And if anything, seeing nice comments just really spurs me on to make more videos and work on the game more. And then if you're working on the game more, the fans appreciate the game more, and it's just a really nice cycle that you wouldn't get if you had, say, worked on your game for like 2 years before showing it to the world. So when I started the channel, I didn't really have a long-term plan in mind. I just kind of let it happen. And I think that's important when you start any kind of YouTube channel or social media page. If you've got everything planned from the start, you're going to be disappointed if the content you put out eventually doesn't get the response you wanted. Whereas if you can react early on from the game's lifespan, it's going to make for a better game, and your channel's going to be more successful because people are going to see what they've asked for. For example, when I started making YouTube videos, the game didn't have a backstory at all, and then a few people were like, hey, it'd be really cool if you made some lore videos on this. So I made a story for the game, and the card game's much stronger for it now. It's another draw in to have this cool backstory with certain characters, people buying more packs because they want to pull certain characters from the lore in their packs. A sort of event will unfold in the story as I'm writing it, and I'll be like, oh, that's a good idea for a card, maybe I'll put that in the game. And it's added a whole new dimension to the Chaos Galaxy, which I would never have thought up otherwise. So being self-realised and independent with the Chaos Galaxy is an amazing feeling. So sometimes when I don't appreciate the game, or I feel like it's going a bit stale, I'll show it to a friend or get a really amazing YouTube comment of someone just appreciating the game, and hearing someone genuinely being interested about a product that you've created out of nothing is amazing. And it also means that you have the freedom to take that game or YouTube channel in any direction. It's great to be able to just escape into the Chaos Galaxy and create this world where I make the rules, and it's an even better luxury on top of that to have people like you guys from the Indie Gamer magazine to be able to appreciate it. On the flip side to that, it's no easy task. Being the sole creator of a game means all the responsibilities on you, and if you go a couple of weeks where you're feeling demotivated and not making any content, or you're really busy with other stuff, life gets in the way, I know, that's down to you as well. YouTube engagement falls, booster pack sales fall, and it's really stressful, but it's genuinely amazing to have people notice when that happens who you don't even know, and say like, hey, is everything all right with you? Really looking forward to your next video. Yeah, it's great. The game kind of having this creation has a way of picking you back up. So I think this just shows the power of what a good creative project can do, the likes of which there are so many in the Indie Gamer magazine. So I want to thank you guys for having me on to show the Chaos Galaxy TCG, and to tell you to support your indie games, your indie card games and indie video games, indie board games, whatever it is, and that if you have a good idea, even if it's not planned out, just take that first step and put pen to paper, or put up that first YouTube video, or write down your idea. Along the same vein, the famous words of the late Stan Lee, if you have an idea that you genuinely think is good, don't let some idiot talk you out of it.
"2021 saw some excellent titles launch in early access, and we've given away a lot of them here on the channel. So for Best Early Access, the nominees are Potion Craft, War Tales, Hellish Court, Valheim. And the winner for Best Early Access of 2021, get your fencing skills ready because it is Hellish Court.
River Tales successfully funded on Kickstarter This duo will be coming to the Nintendo Switch and Steam. Immerse yourself in a visually stunning 3D world as you take parts in tough boss fights, work together as a team, and solve new challenges in every level. All you need is communication and complete trust.
Hey everybody, hope you're enjoying the show. Now, if you're a gamer at all, you've probably heard of ADOM, Ancient Domains of Mystery. It's a game that's been in development almost as long as I've been alive. So I did not think that I would be able to reach out to them and ask if they wanted to be a part of this show. However, I reached out to them and I wanted them to be a part of the magazine, and I wanted to talk to them about what it was like developing a game for 20 plus years. They were more than happy to oblige, and here's the team at ADOM.
Hello, my name is Thomas Biskup, and I'm a businessman, game developer, software developer, computer scientist, call it whatever you like. I have developed probably like dozens of games, but only 2 of them have been released to the general public, and the most famous one probably is ADOM, which you can see here. Ancient Domains of Mystery, which is one of the 5 foundational roguelike games out there that it's one of the early generation roguelikes that's famous for its involved storylines, the enormous amounts of details, and all kinds of crazy things happening in the game. The other game is the sequel to ADOM, which is called Ultimate ADOM, Caverns of Chaos, first release, focusing on a modern dungeon crawler that recently has been released to Steam. I think the release of ADOM in 1994 fell into a very special moment of time, and that's what makes the followers of ADOM, the fans of ADOM, so special, because around that time, really, internet suddenly started to become something more than let's say, a very special hobby for highly technical people. Internet slowly entered the mainstream between 1994 and 1999. And I was lucky in releasing ADOM and at a point in time when more and more people flocked into the internet. Offerings at that time still pretty limited, and roguelike games also still were pretty small as a niche, and there were only very few games. And I was lucky that the things ADOM offered struck a chord with so many people, and at that point in time, suddenly more and more people came into the internet and met those few offerings that existed at the time. And so I guess I was very lucky in building a whole generation of gamers around ADOM at a time when the number of choices was far more limited than it's today. I mean, back in those days, you had probably like 10 or 12 roguelike games in total, and 2 or 3 that were really big. While today you have something like, I don't know, several hundred game releases per day. So it's a very different time then compared to now. So I was lucky to have lots of attention. The game obviously met certain demands, requirements, wishes of people. And so what really happened is that I think that a generation of people that were also imprinted, formed, transformed by suddenly having something like internet and being able to use certain offerings of that new internet thing, shaped a very strong community, because it's like early memories of your childhood. If you have good memories of childhood, they follow you through your life. And that's basically what happened to the early ADOM community. There are so many fans that still play the game after, by now, more than 25 years, because they have so many good memories to the game. And I mean, we managed to evolve it over time, not always at the same speed, but it evolved and still sees some evolution. And I think that's something that makes people very loyal, because they saw that their input, their feedback, their ideas also made their way into the game. And so because the game was released in a very transformational phase of society, so to speak, because internet changed everything, it really also managed to imprint itself on a small, very loyal, fantastic community. And that's why people still today play ADOM, follow it, love it, and give feedback and help us to think about how to make it better, improve it even more. And yeah, that's just a very special thing you can't easily reproduce, because several factors came together, and I'm very proud of having been there during these days, and it's been a fantastic journey until today. And love to see that people still get something out of ADOM, can use it and find interesting things in it. It's just amazing. Best thing of my professional life, I would say. Thinking about game development in the early 90s is really interesting because it was not just a different time, a different world, it was a different universe, really, especially if you look at it from a technical point of view, because today you have all those marvelous tools, you have the internet with its thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of offerings, and if you look for an algorithm today, or for graphics, or for whatever resources, you can find them 1,000 times on the internet within one mouse click or one Google search or whatever. When you look back at the 90s, I mean, internet was just coming up. There were some discussion forums, but you still went to libraries to look for books, and they usually didn't have the interesting books. And information on the Usenet, internet was there, but scarce. And development tools were like primitive, I would say. And that's probably an understatement because if you think about it from a technical point of view as a software developer, in the 90s, version control was something very new, and there was only pretty primitive version control schemes, and editors usually did not have syntax highlighting, auto-completion. Compile runs were something that did not happen while you were programming, so you were writing lots of code and then you try to compile things and understand why it didn't work. And compiling could take minutes for one run of a game, and there were things like, I mean, technical things, if you look from a computer scientist side to development, many things that today are taken as given, clean code, refactoring, test automation, all this did not exist in that time. So refactoring code meant doing search and replace on dozens or hundreds of text files and hoping that things worked out. There was no support for such things because these concepts were not yet ingrained in most editors, at least not the ones I was using. And so it was really like working with, let's say, very primitive tools. And looking back at it from today's point of view, I'm really surprised that we even were able to build such complex games and systems, because I think most developers of today just would be totally lost and lose their mind and go crazy if they were forced to work like we did in the 90s. And I don't want to think about the 80s or before, because that again must have been very different. So today I think developers are in a very luxurious situation, and you can see it from the games that are created today. Today you can create marvelous games in such a small amount of time so quickly. It's really very different from the days then. And the one thing I think is very similar is that still today finding games with a very complex idea behind it, that's a lot of work, and there are not too many games with fantastic ideas. Many are just rehashes of the same formula, which is probably a consequence of the toolset you have, because if you have a toolset for easily generating 3D games, yeah, you will see all kinds of 3D shooters, but seeing an innovative shooter with really fresh and new ideas, it's something that already happens, and that's very similar to the 90s. So technically, you can't compare the times. It's a different universe, really. Design-wise, I think it's not that different. You have more options today and more computing power to do interesting things, but if I look at many games, I wonder why we waste so much time and so much computing power on pretty boring concepts, actually. And I really would love to see more interesting concepts. And yeah, so that's my comparison. It was a different universe. It was a fun universe to be in, but I wouldn't want to return. Today is much better. My advice to new game developers, I think it boils down to one thing, basically. Just do it as a hobby first. Really try to develop your first game, your first 2 or 3 games as a hobby, as something you do for love, for passion, not for business purposes, because you most likely will make a lot of mistakes, and it's very, very unlikely that you will even be able to generate moderate income from your first couple of games. It probably won't happen, especially not in today's market, because the market is completely overcrowded and flooded with free-to-play games and stuff like that. So if you want to do game development, do it as a passion, as a love, because you want to create something, because you want to be an artist. Start out with that. See if you can learn the necessary skills, have maybe some friends you can do it together with, and are able to finish a game. Don't start out too big. You won't be building the next huge multiplayer role-playing game immediately. Just not going to happen. try some small concept, try to complete it, and try to make it a fun game, and see if it really vibes with you, and you can also do the hard parts of developing such a game. And then progress from there. Do a second game, do a third game, and if you still love it and have fun doing it, and if you get some positive feedback that is encouraging, then you might think about doing it more professionally. But always keep in mind, if you wanted to do it as a professional career, it becomes a job. That's very different from doing it as a hobbyist or for love. It's always a job, and a job has good moments and has bad moments, and it's about earning money. And that's very different from doing it for passion, for something you love. And that's the choice you have to make, because it's highly unlikely that you will become even moderately rich doing game development. That's probably not gonna happen. So if you are looking at game development from that side of the game, don't do it. If you feel you have something to express, a vision, art to create, yeah, do it, absolutely, but do it as a hobby, because then you can do it whenever you feel like doing it, not pressed by deadlines, by business requirements, by the need of getting food on your table, because that probably will kill creativity and remove the fun. And then you will have to see if you have enough talent to get it somewhere that you can earn money with it, be it in a day job as a game developer, which is one option, it might be a good option if you find a good studio, or as someone who even might turn it into a business, although you really have to see that probably less than 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 10,000 of budding game developers ever makes it to that level. It's really hard. Doesn't mean don't try it, but be realistic about it, and you need to really be compassionate and willing to invest a lot of time. It's not something you do in 5 minutes, but it can be an amazing journey, and I must say I'm really happy about all the time I invested over the past almost 30 years by now in my small attempts at game development. It was a crazy journey. I wouldn't change much about it if I could change things, and so start small, then grow is probably the summary of what I would be saying regarding that. Good luck.
Hey guys, welcome back. If you're just joining, remember to like and subscribe as we get into our next award of the night. For the next award, it's Best Team Developer. 2020 saw a lot of hard times, and it didn't get a lot better in 2021. A lot of developers were still working remotely, and it made it really difficult to share in that creative process with each other. However, these developers still created an awesome product and an awesome experience through all of it. So here are your nominees for the best team developers of 2021. Hidden Fields, Acid Nerve, Black Matter, Norsefell. And the winner for best team developer, the people who created the most exciting experience of 2021, is Black Matter.
After bringing the world we know to self-destruction, it was taking a long time to pull ourselves back up. Too long. But once that has happened, we won't waste this chance. Nature has taught us a lesson because we thoughtlessly used its resources. We cannot repeat the mistakes of our predecessors. It is time to rebuild our civilization, using the only gift of nature that has worked in the past. Today, we already know that only our technology can bring freedom and salvation to humanity. It is time to introduce the world into a new era and set a course for future generations. We will not let anyone stand in our way.
Punk Wars, a classic turn-based 4X strategy game where 4 new powers have emerged after the fall of civilization. Take control of one of 4 powerful corporations, Steampunk, Dieselpunk, Atompunk, or steampunk with their unique skill sets to level up and lead humanity to prosperity. You can download the prologue for free on Steam.
Hey everybody, welcome back. A big thing that keeps the magazine going, aside from this unending desire, is not only just the subscriptions, but the advertisements that we show inside. A big supporter of the magazine is Beamable. And if you've watched our YouTube channel, you have heard about Beamable a lot. That's because Beamable is awesome and they're great people. So great that they agreed to come and speak at this award show. So hear from the developers of Beamable yourself. Here's Trapper Markells.
Hi, I'm Trapper Markells, co-founder and COO of Beamable. Beamable is a gaming tools company, a technology platform that allows you to rapidly add social, commerce, content management, live ops tools to your game, whether that game is a mobile game, a PC game, but gives you a whole array of tools to rapidly implement the features that are going to drive retention, revenue, and general player interaction inside of your game. So we help indie devs by giving them the ability to really realize their vision. Games these days are complicated. A lot of games are live games that require continuous updating of content and the player experience. And all of that capability requires a whole range of technology that a lot of indie devs don't really start developing games to get into. It requires an understanding of servers and databases and scaling and developer operations. And so with Beamable, we endeavor to take all of that off of the plate of the developer so that they can focus on the things that are really going to differentiate their game. The developer can focus on story, character, gameplay, and leave all of the sort of economy capabilities, server functionality, all of that to Beamable. So ultimately allowing the indie dev to move fast, build a great game, accomplish all the technology needed to make that game successful, and get it into the hands of their players as fast as possible. Beamable started as a game development studio. We were building game titles that were based on large global IPs, and building free-to-play games around that. And as we were building these games and publishing them and launching them to players and operating them, we found ourselves solving the same problems over and over again. And so when we conceived of Beamable, we wanted to build an accessible tool set that would bring a lot of the tools that were only really available to the largest game studios and put those into the hands of small teams. So at the end of the day, Beamable's focus is really how do we build the tools and the developer workflows to allow indie devs and really game developers of all sizes to really find efficiency in implementing this complex technology. So whether that's social features that you need to add to your game, whether that's commerce features for managing your game economy, your store, your offers, whether that's multiplayer systems with leaderboards and matchmaking, or all the content management tools you need to regularly schedule live events, put together tournaments, do all the rewards for that, do all the custom sort of currencies and items for all of that. We really sort of saw ourselves solving those problems as a game studio and devised a solution to implement that for developers of all sizes. And uniquely, we're really focused on the game developer workflow. We're really focused on trying to make it so that you can implement every aspect of your game inside of a single environment, inside of a single language. So Beamable really tightly integrates with Unity and the Unity game engine. We provide an entire set of custom tooling so that you can author both client functionality and server functionality all inside of the Unity editor. So for small teams, this is really powerful because you don't need to have a separate server team writing separate code in different languages and then dealing with all the integration that goes back and forth between that multi-tiered system. So the goal with Beamable is really allow you to actualize your entire game in a single language, in a single development environment, no matter the server or the client functionality, so that your team can stay small, they can stay agile, they can implement their game quickly, they can get it into the hands of players, and then we provide you all the tools to rapidly iterate that game content to really build a successful game and really achieve your vision as a dev. Right now, you can see Beamable in action with a Tilting Point Wicked Realm game title, Star Trek Timelines. You can see some game titles from Eastside Games, a game called Archer Danger Phone, a game called Be Real Monster Buds. We recently launched a game on Steam with the company Shaggy Doge called Piggy Hunt, based on a really popular Roblox title. And we have dozens of games going live over the next year. So definitely go to our website, check out our list of customers, and feel free to contact us with any questions.
Thank you so much, Trapper, for being a part of the event, and thank you everybody at Beamable for being so supportive of the magazine and so supportive of all independent creators out there. What would a game be without story? Story is something that's very important, especially with independent titles. When independent creators can't rely on huge graphics or exciting explosions, or creating the same thing every single year and selling it as a brand new game, they have to tell a story. Story plays a very important part. And these are the nominees for the best storytelling of 2021. Mondan, Kenna, Bridge of Spirits, Little Nightmares 2, Death's Door, and the winner. The people who you voted on created the best story of 2021 in their independent game is Kenna, Bridge of Spirits.
Spirit of Europe. You can play Spirit of Europe Origins on Steam for free. It features a unique possession system, economy and building system, 58 combat units, over 240 NPC to interact with, and 13 unique maps to explore. All of this combines for over 15 hours of gameplay. By your hand, history shall be made in Spirit of Europe Origins.
For the next award for best gameplay, we thought it'd be good to bring in somebody who might be a little bit more exciting than me. We've talked to him for the magazine. He's been on our cover. Please welcome Jack Goddard.
Hi, I'm Jack. I'm the solo developer responsible for Menos and Wolf Riot this year. I am here to talk to you about gameplay, why we're all here, executing that perfect strat, finding that perfect build, taking down the Titans. And the Giants are coming, my friend. Oh, they are coming. The winner of Best Gameplay for 2021 is the great, the amazing, the epic Tribes of Midgard by Norsfell. Throw some love their way.
Blind Fate. Jump into a world where you can be a cyber samurai in Blind Fate. The Mask of the Oni has created a simulation around you, and even though you may be blind, you're a force to be reckoned with. Use different sensors to detect your enemies and crush them with lightning speed.
Hey everybody, hope you're enjoying the event. Next up we have Ryan Brown from Super Rare Games. We've spoken to Super Rare in the magazine, and we share a lot of the same ideas on physical, tangible things. While we created the magazine and I wanted to have a print issue, they look at games and they still want a physical copy. And so that's what they're doing. Here's Ryan Brown to tell you a little bit about how they create physical games from digital properties.
Hello, Indie Gamer Magazine crew. Thank you for having me. I truly appreciate it. I am Ryan Brown from Super Rare Games, and I'm the head of saying stuff at Super Rare, which is just a less boring way of saying head of marketing and communications and all those lovely things. And if you haven't heard of us, what we do at Super Rare Games is we create physical video games, usually of indie games. So we're very indie-focused video game publisher. In fact, that's our whole thing, really. Historically, what we do is roughly every 3 weeks, we'll release a limited number of copies of a physical indie game. So we've released Worms in the past, Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time, Old School Musical, the SteamWorld games, lots and lots of different games of all different scales on the sort of indie scene. So really well-known ones, and then some hidden gems as well, which we feel deserve more attention. And so, yeah, we tend to print between 4,000 to 6,000 copies of these games. And the whole thing is just about preserving these video games, preserving these indie games, because it is something we are genuinely passionate about. We are worried that one day when the digital servers go down, whether that's tomorrow, in a year, 15 years, 50 years, it doesn't really matter to us, but one day they will. And we don't want these games to be lost forever. We think they deserve to be preserved properly. And we like the idea of being able to, in 50 years' time, go, wow, I really loved that game Roki. I really loved that game Snake Pass. I'd love to play it again. I remember that from decades ago. Oh, here it is. And you just pop it in your console and play it. As opposed to just relying on YouTube videos, and not having anything else. And so it's really important to us to be able to preserve these games and also help out the developers. Like the amount of money that these often small indie game developers, solo devs or publishers get from a physical release can actually even be more than they got from the digital launch. And that's really important to us. And of course, it's just a nice collectible. It's a nice thing to have on the shelf. It's a cool visual way of representing a game that you really like. And that's all important to us. So that's kind of what we do. And we were created in 2018, early 2018. At the time of recording, we've got 60 odd games under our belt. So, I mean, yeah, one every 3 weeks. It's really rolling. Spreading that indie love. And that's why we were created. Like, George Perkins is the founder of the company, and he it's just something that meant a lot to him and means a lot to all of us. It's just about this preservation, collecting, making sure that indie games, which are often really hard, they struggle to get visibility, as I'm sure a lot of people know, especially on digital storefronts, and we help get that visibility for a lot of those games. Of course, we have beloved classics like Abzu and the SteamWorld games that they are already well known. It's also important to preserve those games, but a lot of the hidden games that don't tend to get that sort of attention, and that's really important to us as well. And then you got this behind me, supporting the people almost at the bottom, which is the Super Rare Mixtape, and these are games that tend to be released on platforms like itch.io or Newgrounds completely for free, and are just so easily forgotten about. Sometimes they get hundreds of plays, at a maximum. Definitely aren't physically preserved, definitely aren't given the spotlight as much as they deserve to be. And so we put 30 games and 6 demos on little physical USB, and we released Volume 1 in August. We're releasing the next one in February, and there should be a couple of volumes of that this year. And so that's just one of the things we're expanding into, and we will have some more news to share later in the month, so definitely stay tuned to us to figure out what else is going on. But yeah, it's all about supporting indies. So in the process of choosing and creating a game for a physical release, it can be so many different things. It can literally just be that us internally really like a game, and we want a physical release of it. We want to see it preserved. We want to help support a developer who we really get on with. That's been the case for Old School Musical. That was the case for Unrailed. Unrailed is a really cool sort of overcooked style sort of chaotic party game where you have to lay down tracks. And we were playing that internally for months during lockdown in COVID, and we love that game. And so it was sort of one of those things where we want a physical version. we just want one in our house, and we're pretty sure other people like this game as well. And so sometimes it is that, and I think having passion led sort of ideas is really good. Like, it's not just some money making scheme, oh, which will be the most popular game. We want to publish things that we care about, and every single game we select is a game that we care about and enjoy. We wouldn't publish a game that we don't think is any good, because where's the fun in that? Some games come about from suggestions from fans on our Discord, on social media. Some are just that publishers have pitched to us and said, hey, do you want to work together? And some we've pitched to them. I mean, so it's all over the place. It really is just what makes sense for our lineup. Like, what do we want? What do our audience want? What needs preserving? Which indie devs need the support? There's so many factors that come into play, and we'd like to think that that helps make a really varied lineup year to year. We don't want to become known as sort of the puzzle platformer company or the point and click company. So we really try to have a different variation of genres and art styles and gameplay styles. And yeah, hopefully we managed to do that with about 18 of our normal Switch physical releases a year. Where do we hope to see ourselves in the future? So as I mentioned, we have so much going on behind the scenes. From our usual Super Rare Games physical releases to Super Rare Shorts, Super Rare Mixtape, and some other things happening behind the scene, which we will talk about soon. But it's always going to be indie. That's the heart of what we do. It's always going to be about legitimately supporting indie developers on all different levels in as many ways as possible. We're always going to be focused on physical games because preservation means a lot to us. So indie, preservation, that is the current and future of the company, but we do have a lot of exciting things going on behind the scenes. So thanks so much for having us. Please do check us out at Super Rare Games on the Twitter, on the Facebooks, and just on our website. As I say, we have a lot of cool things going on, a lot of passion projects, like just the fact that we're doing things like this. We frankly don't earn a lot of money from it. It is a passion project. Same with Super Rare Shorts. The fact that we are in the position to be able to support indies on projects that we are personally enormously passionate about is a dream come true. How many people get to say they get to do that? We are thankful literally every day. And yeah, we can't wait to show you some more awesome indie stuff. Enjoy the rest of the event, and we're looking forward to reading more issues of the Indie Gamer magazine. See you later.
All right, we're getting close to the end of the event, and we've got one last award to get to. This is the Big Enchilada. This is the biggest, most prestigious award in the world. This is higher than meeting the President of the United States. You could put this on your job application. Here are our nominees for Game of the Year. Kenna, Bridge of Spirits. Death's Door. Omno. Hell Let Loose. Mondon. Cyber Shadow. Valheim. Genesis Noir. And the award for the most prestigious award ever created, Game of the Year from the Indie Gamer magazine, is Kenna, Bridge of Spirits. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in and watching. Thank you to all the guest speakers and my team and everybody who helped me put this together. And congratulations to all of the winners tonight. I hope everybody enjoys some of these games and the giveaways and just enjoyed the show. If you are a YouTube subscriber, and if you're not, be sure to hit that button. We put out content Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Friday, we do giveaways, and in 2022, we're looking to extend this content, make it a lot more than it already is. So you're going to want to subscribe so you can keep up and keep track of what we're doing. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I will see you Monday, and have a great weekend. Thank you.